and welcome to another beautiful edition of Editor Inspiring, a program where we get to have distinguished guests sit with us in the studio to have interesting and intelligent conversations on diverse issues going on in the country. My name is Mendy Gilmazaka, and once again, you're welcome to the program. All right. So before we go to the topic for today, we'll just quickly go through the events and stories that happened in the course of the week, and then we saw that on Monday, the youth and women of Niger State took to the streets of Mina, protesting over what they called the biting hardship and rising cost of living in the country. And the protest started when a group of women blocked Mina, one of the major roads, and they termed the suffering under the Bola Tinubu's regime as being unbearable. And then we saw that still on Monday, 13 suspects were paraded at the Ekiti State Police headquarters in connection to the gruesome killing of traditional rulers and the abduction of school students and teachers in Ekiti State. While on Tuesday we saw that the president implored the Nigerian military and other security agencies to intensify efforts at containing the multi-dimensional security challenges in the country. And still on Tuesday, we had the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, and his counterparts in the Ministry of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, who assured Nigerians that the high cost of living in the country is being addressed. And likewise, the central bank governor, Kaduso, and the chairman of the FIRS, Zach Adibeji, joined the ministers to inform and solicit that things will get better. And then Wednesday we had the Senate who adjourned the security briefing by the security chief still next week, Tuesday. And then on Wednesday we had the INEC National Electoral Commission, which gave certificate of return to lawmakers who won by rural elections in their various constituencies during the February 3rd election. We had the leadership of the NLC and TUC issue a 14 days strike notice to the president-led government over the non-implementation of agreements that will address the lingering economic hardship of Nigerian workers and Nigerians. On Thursday, we had the speakers of the House of Representatives acknowledge the concerns of Nigerians and the current state of the economy, security and other issues, and they also assured Nigerians of their double efforts towards addressing the issue. All right, and then on Friday we had the president sign the Electoral Act as amended 2024 into law. All right, with that being said, we have distinguished guests in the studio with me today. But before I introduce them, let's just quickly go through this report that will introduce us to our topic.
According to statistics from the United Nations World Food Programme, 4.4 million people are food insecure in the northeast Nigeria, with 37% of people nationwide living below the poverty line among the over 200 million Nigerians. Although insecurity has severally been seen as a major obstacle for farmers, but government inability to tackle the menace and provide food security in preventing a breakdown of law and order is another major concern. The national chairman, Global Movement Against Hunger, and former Delta chairman of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, and some traders spoke on the delicate nature of food crisis.
The government should not wait for the whole country to protest about food crisis, because the Global Movement Against Hunger is there to assist the farmers. The All Farmers Association of Nigeria also is there to assist farmers, to organize farmers. And the government should not wait, because it is delicate, because food crisis is one of the worst crises
I want make government help us. The things they too dear. The tomatoes before we dey buy am, the crate 8,000. But now we dey buy am 20 something. Pepper 50,000. Pepper so we dey buy before 35. If you dey well 6,000. Now pepper now 50,000. If you cheap when I be 48. I beg make government make they help us. Make they come to we rescue. Make they help us. If na farmer if na money they won't give us. Make they find one or two to take help us. I beg.
Need money. Things too dear. We dey suffer, we dey hungry. We go buy load today before day break. We go hear say they don put money. We need money. Money not there. And things hard. Okay, I buy mangi yesterday. So I buy mangi about almost 18.5. I hear this morning say mangi now is 25,000 for a carton.
And the demand don't cost 118. Why I go job now? My begin 7 begin. I got 7 begin. I don't get the thing where I go give and.
But this thing why they talk, so they use pidgin English they talk am because now worry on a day. We dey vex or wetin dey happen for the country. We need God to help us because where the country dey be and we no understand. So say 1 cube of maggi na 20 naira. Basket of garri na ammo even rice sef.
On the dangers of food security, the former chairman of Farmers Association of Nigeria said government must show interest in farming and provide an enabling environment for farmers.
Food insecurity in this country is that it seems to be that the government is not interested in that is on farming. We get to make the government have interest in farming. Though insecurity also, government should provide something that will make that is secure farmers when going to farm, and also be ready to assist farmers.
Grass I don tire. Beans don go 5,000. Rice don go 75,000 for bag now. So I don't know where we dey go. When they break, they go add money journal. Like the white beans basket now 3.5. Last week we said 3.3. Now this week they don't go 3.5. Today again they enter 3.7. Now today again now brown beans and honey beans alone don't go 5,000. So I don't know where we dey go. As they break the things they.
Meanwhile, Wednesday's Federal High Court order urging federal government under Section 4 of the Price Control Act to fix prices of some essential commodities with a 7-day ultimatum, according to the traders, would help in no little way in checking food price increase amid proactive measures by the federal government in meeting the yearnings of the people.
Alright, welcome back to the studio, and with me in the studio I have Mr. Shomole Richard Imuna, who is the Assistant General Secretary of Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria. You're welcome to the program. And I have Mr. Victor Anya, who is the General Secretary of the Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria and the publisher of Prime Health New magazine. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Many thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to have you in the studio today. Okay, so we've seen the reports that was being played right before we started, and I think I would say Nigerians are angry. You know, it's becoming unbearable for Nigerians. Things are increasing on a daily basis. You know, you go to the market, the price you hear today, you go tomorrow, and it's different. It's, you know, it keeps increasing. And we've seen that people are now going out to protest. We saw on Monday that people protested in Niger as well, Kanu, and I think yesterday people also protested in Osun State. So what do you have to say about all of this? I mean, we are all Nigerians, so yes.
We all feel all this, and exactly what we've been saying, you know, since the day one, we had the security issue in the country that made farmers unable to go to farms. Of course, you remember well how many you can't count how many farmers that have been killed on their farmlands. You know, can you imagine someone leaving home to go to his or her farm and get slaughtered there? So it's a big issue there when no one feels secured even to help feed the nation. So that is one. The second one is when you look at issue of the fuel crisis itself, you can't take it out. In a country where you have almost everything dependent on petrol or diesel, when the few farmers you have on the farms, whenever they summon the courage to get those things to the market, they're going to have to rely on transportation, one transportation or the other, whether bike or lorry or trucks. So of course now you know what per liter costs. So you know what diesel per liter costs as well. So all these have not in any way helped. It hasn't. The security, no one is guaranteeing farmers security, presence on their farmlands, adequate security, and no one has been able to say, look, when you produce this, we're going to help you to get them to the markets without you paying through your groceries. So it's a big issue we have here. And when you then look at the way governments go about, governments have three layers, the local government, the state government, and the federal government. The way they go about it is as if nothing is happening. It's as if nothing is happening.
Well, I think we can't say it's as if nothing is happening. I mean, we've seen House of Reps, we've seen the Senate call up the CBN governor, Minister of Finance, and say, okay, come, what is going on? These people are suffering.
It
so
is not enough. It is not
okay,
enough.
let's have Mr. Victor come into the conversation.
Calling on the CBN governor, Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Budget and Planning will not solve the situation, will not solve the problem.
Is it a step in the right direction?
It's not a step in the right direction. At their session, if you call after calling them, what are the sanctions for them? If you employ somebody, you are working here now, if you don't perform your duty, what happens? You'll be given a sack later. But in our own situation, nobody is sacked and nobody resigns. And that's why the problem continues to persist. Any country where there are no sanctions against non-performers, such a country cannot move forward. For instance, now we are bedeviled with insecurity. People cannot go to their farm to cultivate their crops because of insecurity, kidnapping, raping of women, and even when rations are paid, in many occasions, the victims are slaughtered. How will you expect farmers to go to farm? We are not able to go to farm, and customs officials, after clearing rice at the border, they go to people's shops and they pound rice. Tell me which country such things happen, and they are not being sanctioned. They want ordinary Nigeria to starve to death. They have filled their homes with foreign rice, as you see them. These liars deceiving themselves. We have to tell ourselves the truth in this country because there's so much lie in this country. And because we don't talk, that's why they have the temerity to be behaving the way they are behaving. They want us to starve to death. The situation we have today is a situation that calls for urgent action to make pronouncement to the custom officer to stop impounding houses from rice from people's shop. How will you go to people's shop? You are impounding rice. When they impound the rice, they sell the rice to themselves. Is that how it's supposed to be done? The president should make a pronouncement that the border should be open now. Let massive rice be imported to this country. We are human beings. That we are poor does not mean that we are not human beings. It is the blood that flows in our vein, that flows in their blood. The fact that they are fortunate to be occupying elected position does not make them to be different from us. When you wake up in the morning, the worms in your stomach will bite your intestine, asking for food. And if we cannot provide food, what happens? You develop an ulcer, and it can lead to death. You can see the number of people that are dying. So a serious government anywhere that cares for the people, in a dicey situation like this, in a hectic situation like this where people cannot go to farm, we make sure that food is imported massively to help the people. In 2015, a bag of rice was 7,000. Today it's 70,000. When they were in your position there, they said that Nigeria we are suffering when we buy a bag of rice 7,000. Now that we are buying it at 70,000, what are we doing? Are we enjoying? The record of rice at that time was 180 naira. They said we were suffering at that time. Now it's 2005. There was a young man that went to the farm, to the market. When he priced the record of rice, he could not buy it. He was crying profusely. Not that he was sobbing. He was crying profusely, and tears were coming out of his cheeks. A married man with children could not afford. He was saying, what are my children going to eat this evening? I only have 2,000 naira. What were my children going to eat? Until some kind-hearted Nigeria came to his rescue and gave me some money. Is that how a country exists?
Okay. So, in a temporary response to the whole issue, I think on Thursday we had the president who immediately asked for a release of 102,000 metric tons of various grains to Nigerians. I'm sure we're all aware of that. Don't you think, I think it shows that at some point the government knows what these people are going through.
Do we
and they are making moves. You know, they are trying in their own efforts to
your estimation.
It was a temporary response, which obviously means, okay, let's have this for now while we work on the permanent. So
we have had such pronouncements several times. There was a time before Buhari left office, certain Nigerians were taken to Abuja and they were shown a pyramid of rice. Did you get any of that to buy? They put ordinary sacks in the open. They called them pyramid of rice. After that occasion, did you get any rice to buy? In 2015, when Ambode was a governor of Lagos State, they formed a synergy with a Kebbi State governor there. They said they called it Lake Rice. That rice was not found anywhere in this Lagos. They bamboozled us, told us lies that they were bringing rice for Kebbi. I was here then that time, and I asked that I've gone around the market in Lagos. I've not seen a seed of that Lake Rice. So these people are known for propaganda. There is nowhere a grains are kept anywhere in Nigeria. If they know, they should tell us. I want to go there and buy. At the end of the day, this is just mere propaganda. Nothing will come out of it. They have said it time without, when people government officials continue to lie, as they continue to lie, if we don't challenge them, they take us for the food. That is what is happening in the country.
I can see Mr. Richard smiling. Let's get it out of your chest.
I mean, you can only smile in this kind of situation, and as they say, issues that goes, that transcends weeping or crying over. You just have to laugh over them. I before coming here, I heard someone reminded me of having an egg being sold for between 150 to 200 naira. Yes, you understand. And I chuckled. I was like, and we need a healthy citizen, citizens in this country. The kids, are they supposed to grow healthy? You understand? When you have an egg being sold for 200 naira. Now at the same time, I quickly checked what happened, and I discovered almost 1 billion naira had been marked for 37 people. The tripartite minimum wage committee, just 37 of them. I'm not sure they're going to sit more than 30 to 60 days, and they have close to 1 billion naira to expend. So when you look at this, because I noticed you were a bit kind of optimistic about the way government trying on everything.
Yes.
But look, I love to be optimistic as well. I love to be optimistic, but when you look at the indices, the data, is not. There's nothing that shows that we're going to smile soon. I can't imagine 37 people having to expend 500 million to 1 billion naira to fix minimum wage in an economy that the budget relies heavily on borrowing. Now, hungry citizens will be hungry, right?
Yes, of course.
So, and if they are angry, they will sabotage, they will circumvent, and they will terrorize. So all this, you have to juxtapose between the hungry citizens and the insecurity. So you have farmers can't go to farm. You have the few who summon the courage to go to the farm, can't bring the farm produce to the city, to the market. So, and you have those few, you know, in authority, spending almost 500% of what we have. So your optimism is what I would love to share, but I can't see that now. So I need more from the government. I need more from the government to assure the people, look, we are ready. We are also sacrificing a lot as we ask you to sacrifice. Inviting this minister to come and talk does not solve anything. We want to see actions. You know, it was promised that by January, February this year, the CNG buses will be everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen anyone. Now, the few, if they've eventually made their ways to different motor parks, I'm sure they will never be enough. So what we are saying is that we need this deliberate, you know, actions from those saddled with that authority to govern, because immediately people no longer trust you, then you are inviting anarchy.
But what do you see coming? Because I mean, I feel for protest, for people to come out to protest, it definitely means that the hardship must have gotten to a certain point. What do you see happening if nothing is being done, let's say roughly 6 months or a year?
No, I want to be optimistic,
okay,
and trust the government that they will do something.
Okay.
Because it's going to be very, very bad.
Okay.
It's going to be very bad in the sense that it was said that when the poor become so hungry, they'll begin to eat the rich.
Yes.
You will agree with me now that the poor is not just eating the rich, they are devouring the rich. Because when you sit in an estate, in your bedroom, with multiple gates to your house, and someone was able to get you out into the forest, being kidnapped, then it's an emergency. So what we are saying here is that we can't allow it. Yesterday, you know, the good thing about we analysts is that we are like the go-between. We see a lot of things between the government and the downtrodden. Yesterday, I can tell you 3 people, 3 adults, 1 in the morning, 2 in the evening, asked for help. On the way, all they wanted, food. No, they didn't say just give me money. They said, can I eat something? Immediately, citizens are so hungry that they can no longer feed. It's an emergency, national emergency.
Which I think, just as you said, at some point, all of this links back to the reason why we're having a high case of insecurity. Because in as much as, yes, what they're doing is bad, but you would also notice that part of the reason why they do what they do is probably because, I mean, things are difficult.
Of course.
And yes,
someone has got to feed.
Someone has to feed. You have a family, and at some point, unemployment in Nigeria is massive.
Then I can assure you that it is not an easy thing for an adult to go on the road begging. He or she must have been psychologically destroyed. Then it is not as that easy to have someone going on the highway at night, risking his life wanting to kidnap someone else. So it has become between life and death. Citizens of Nigeria with so much resources must never be allowed to get to that
point. And sadly, I think, was it last week or so, we had incidents of a woman selling her child for, I think, 100,000 naira or so. So you could imagine how much hunger people. Okay, so now we've looked at, so what is the solution? What would you advise the government? What do you feel should be the right step? Because I mean, Mr. Victor said the president's releasing certain tons of grains to, it's not really.
There's nothing to release there. What should be done is that the federal government should make a declaration for the borders to be open. Then rice food stores should be allowed in, and the custom official should stop after allowing collecting the whatever fee they collect from the importers. Should stop going to people's shop to go and pound the food stuff, especially rice. Rice does not supposed to be a contraband food, contraband item.
But
It's
you know,
something
part
that-
of the reason why that was done was so we could, you know, come back to patronizing our own.
Have you produced? How do you patronize what you have not produced? People are not going to farm. People are not going to. Do you have rice? If you have rice, why is it being sold for 70,000? No, if you have rice, and you know that people don't go to farm. If people are not going to farm, how do you produce? So you cannot say you want to, you are banning something when you cannot produce it locally. It's a wicked government that does that. People are hungry.
We
You
have
cannot,
to-
you
we
cannot,
have
no,
to-
no, no, no. You have to tell ourselves the truth. Oh. For
But-
somebody, for government, for
but-
government, no. Are you not hungry? I'm hungry, I'm here. Oh. If you have to give me, oh, I'm not ashamed. Oh. I'm not so people that are so pretentious saying that they are certified when they are not certified. How do you buy a bag of rice 70,000? 8 years ago, we were buying it 7,000. They said we were suffering them when they were in the opposition. Now that they are in government, we are buying it 70,000.
You see,
It calls for a project. So what we are saying that government should allow this thing to come in until the country stabilizes, until there is security. Farmers can go to farm. We are producing. If we have it enough, even our local rice is far better than the imported one because it's per bag. This rice from Ogun State, what do we call it? The name has just escaped my mind. Ofada rice, very nutritious rice. Is more costlier than the imported one because few people farm it, but it's the most nourishing rice we have. So if people cannot produce locally and you say this thing should not come in, how do you describe such a government?
Yes, we need to really put this thing in the most optimistic perspective, as I will say. You have issues with cost of governance in this country. I mentioned earlier that you cannot live large, especially borrowing to live large at the expense of your citizens. So, look, you can't also, EU comes preaching equity or to come with clean hands. You can't keep asking the citizens to sacrifice while you borrow to live large. It's obvious. Then, if you deal with issue of cost of governance, the citizens will say, oh, okay, the presidents and the governors are doing a lot, you know, but you have all sorts of allowances, estacos, some individuals displaying $500 on social media. Those things, you do not have the moral ground to arrest any Yahoo boy because you are a bit of more Yahoo than them. Yes, because then, number two, you're going to have issues when you, in such a way, do not look at Southwest, for instance, and we were dealing with issue of mechanized farming the other time. All the farms, mechanized farms, Chief Obafemi Awolowo said they are rotting away in the forest. So, aside the fact that you must lead by example, you must also understand that the unitary system of government we run cannot help us. Let the structures be devolved, so that let attention shift to the regions, so that anyone who steals will have his people at different regions to contend with. But then, as a minister, you are in Abuja right now, and you have stolen from any state here. You will have DSS, the police, the army, everyone to deal with that person back in your state, because you have the so-called federal might. So we want to neutralize that. Let's have government lead by example, and let's have the structure developed.
All right, so let's have government lead by example. All right, so that will be the punchline for this this discussion.